This little saint was baptized Anna, and even the devil seemed to know that she would be an inspiration to many. When her mother Mary was 8 months pregnant with her, she was terrified when she woke up from a nap to find a snake wrapped around her belly. She immediately threw the snake off, but the scare and shock caused Mary to go into labor early, and Anna was born August 19, 1910. She was born in Kudalamur, India. Sadly, her mother died a few weeks later. Anna's father moved the family in with her grandmother, who helped raise the children. Anna's life would be full of all sorts of physical sufferings, and they started with severe eczema at the age of 3. However, thanks to her cheerful demeanor and the good example of her grandmother, a very holy woman, Anna didn't feel sorry for herself. Her grandmother taught Anna her catechism, prayers, and read to her stories of the saints. Anna loved all the saints, especially St. Teresa of Avila and St. Therese of Lisieux. In fact, it was because of St. Therese that Anna tried her best to imitate and model her life after her little way. At 5 years old, Anna was leading the family every day in their daily prayers. When she was 7 years old, she had the happiness of making her first Holy Communion. She had a supernatural joy that day, and her smile never left her face. In fact, every time she received communion, she would experience the same joy. She would say to her friends, "Do you know why I'm so happy today? It's because I have Jesus in my heart." At the same time, Anna began to attend elementary school, where many Hindu children attended. She became good friends with a Hindu girl sitting with her at lunch. She was teased for this, but ignored the kids that bullied her. When Anna was 10 years old, her father decided that Anna should go to live with her mother's sister. This was her mother's last wish, that she be brought up by her aunt. So Anna moved in with her aunt in Mutakura. Here, Anna's happy childhood ended. Her aunt, who became her adoptive mother, was very strict. She demanded Anna's obedience in the smallest matters. Although she brought Anna to church, she did not share Anna's friendship with the nuns at the nearby Carmelite convent. The convent became Anna's refuge, where she would spend hours at the foot of the altar in prayer. Her strict aunt was determined that Anna would marry, and she forced Anna to wear nice clothes, even though Anna had no interest in this. Her aunt also taught Anna everything about being a wife and how to cook and clean. This wouldn't be so bad, except that Anna was just as determined to become a nun. She only wanted to be a bride for Jesus. "Jesus is my spouse and none other," she would say. Her words fell on deaf ears, and when Anna was only 13 years old, her aunt and uncle found a man for her. Anna was so upset that she fainted. So determined was she to get out of this impossible situation that she stayed up all night praying. Anna wrote of this later. "What should I do to avoid this? I prayed all that night. Then an idea came to me. If my body were a little disfigured, no one would want me. Oh, how I suffered. I offered all for my great intention to become a religious." In her desperation, Anna decided to cause herself an injury, just enough to disfigure herself a little and delay the betrothal, if not stop it altogether. In a pit where the husk of the rice grain was being incinerated, she lowered her foot down to step lightly on the hot coals, but lost her balance and fell in. Her burns on her legs and feet were so bad that her toes were fused together and had to be cut apart. It took a full year for her to be healed, but for the rest of her life, she suffered some disfigurement of her feet and legs. Her aunt did call off the betrothal, but unfortunately, the accident with her legs was not enough to deter suitors altogether. She received some marriage proposals, which of course she rejected. This constant need to defend her vocation was exhausting for Anna. She writes, "Oh, the vocation which I received, a gift of my good God. God saw the pain of my soul in those days. God distanced the difficulties and established me in this religious state." Thankfully, it was her spiritual director who eventually saved her. He directed her to the Franciscan clerics congregation at the age of 17. This order dedicated their mission to a spirit of prayer, hard work, care of the destitute and serving the poor, and teaching religion and education. On August 2nd, the feast of St. Alphonsus Liguori, Anna began her postulancy, taking the name of Sister Alphonsa of the Immaculate Conception. She became a temporary teacher at a primary school. Her aunt had never accepted Anna's vocation, however. During her year of postulancy, she continued to pressure Anna to marry. She even got the mistress of formation, who was the nun in charge of teaching the girls discernment for the religious life, to agree with her that Anna could marry if she wanted to. But it was Anna who turned a deaf ear this time. She said, "I joined the convent to become a saint. Having survived so many obstacles, what have I to live for if I don't become a saint?" She took her vows at the age of 19, and according to the customs of her order, she donned a wedding dress and made her vows to the community, and then she traded in her wedding dress for a shaved head and the brown Franciscan habit. The year was 1930. For the next 5 years, Sister Alphonsa would experience much suffering. In fact, about 1 week after the beginning of her novitiate, she suffered a hemorrhage from the nose and eyes and painful wounds on her legs. It's said that she was cured through the intercession of Kyriakosi Elias Kavara, an Indian Carmelite priest who had not yet been canonized. She miraculously recovered after completing the novena. Throughout the years of 1930 to 1935, Sister Alphonsa was only able to teach 1 year in good health. The rest of those years were spent in suffering from various illnesses, double pneumonia, typhoid, and various wounds. However, Sister Alphonsa bore all of these illnesses, pains, and setbacks with extreme patience. She was so good at hiding her illnesses that most of the time she didn't seem to be sick, only tired. Because of this, some of the sisters accused her of faking her illness in order to get attention. Sister Alphonsa continued to use St. Therese as her inspiration and model, trying to offer everything up with a smile. Not only did Sister Alphonsa suffer physically, but the Lord allowed a mental trial for her as well. In 1940, a thief had broken into the convent, entering through Sister Alphonsa's room. The scare caused such a deep shock and trauma that she lost her memory and her ability to read and write for an entire year. In 1941, as she went through more sickness and already weakened by the mental trial, she was near death and given extreme unction. But because of this, the next day she regained her memory and ability to read and write miraculously. However, the physical trials of sickness remained. It's also said that she received infused knowledge and the ability to speak languages that she had not known previously. The year before Alphonsa died was full of all sorts of suffering, starting with a tumor that spread throughout her organs. This caused her continual suffering. Gastroenteritis and liver problems caused violent convulsions and vomiting up to 40 times a day. Hungry but unable to eat because of the pain and constant vomiting, her convulsions often lasted 3 to 7 hours at a time. Sister Alphonsa died on July 28, 1946, at the age of 35, following a series of health complications. Her students prayed at her grave, and many prayers and miracles were soon reported. People from all over flocked to her grave. Hundreds of miraculous cures are claimed from her intervention. Bishop Sebastian reported, "About 10 years ago, when I was in a small village in Wayanad, I saw a boy walking with some difficulty, using a stick. As he approached me, I noted that both of his feet were turned upside down. I had a stack of holy cards in my pocket with Alphonsa's picture on them, so I pulled one of them out and gave it to the boy. When I told the boy that he should pray to this woman for the cure of his feet, the boy replied, 'But I'm a Muslim, and besides, I was born this way.' I replied that God is very powerful, so let's pray. A few months later, a boy and a gentleman came to the house. I didn't recognize them at first, but soon learned that it was the Muslim boy with his father, here to tell me that his feet had been cured through their prayers to Sister Alphonsa. They showed me the calluses on the tops of his feet, which had been made from the years of his walking with his feet turned under. The boy had reportedly taken Alphonsa's picture and asked Alphonsa to help fix his feet. Several days later, one of his feet turned around. He and the other members of his family then prayed for the cure of the second foot. which also turn around later.